a couple of days ago, I had a day off and I was bored and wanted to do something. And I thought to myself, well, why don't I go to an antique shop and see if I can find any vintage fountain pens, right? And it's hard to find them. It's been hard to find them since the mid 80s, frankly. And for some reason, they just, I don't know. Pen people are cuckoo. They really, really want pens badly. So they all end up in collectors' hands, and they have for years. Anyway, so I was thinking about where to go. There are a few antique shops that I've gone to that have, had them, or yeah, or the kind of places that would have them. But anyway, I've made a mental note of the places that would have them. And there was one that I'd gone to that had a few of them, but there was something wrong with every single one of them. It wasn't old enough for me, or just wasn't interesting, or maybe there were big problems with them, or they were overpriced, or some combination of those things. But I got it into my head, yeah, why don't I go to this place I haven't been to in a long time? The other ones I've, gone to a few times fairly recently, and let's go to this one, right? So I had a gut feeling, all right? So I went to the antique shop there, got there, and, well, as soon as I got there, I found a pen. I was like, this is really great. But it was, like a third tier, not so great pen. It was celluloid, white, and kind of like a crackled ice pattern, which is cool. And it had promise, but it wasn't, something that I really actively seek, but it was on the periphery of it and still interesting. So I asked the woman to open it up for me in the case, right? She came over with, a bailiff sized ring of a million keys and went through every single one of them. And I swear to God, more than once. And she just couldn't get the thing open for some reason. It was crazy. And finally she did. And then I looked at it and I unscrewed the cap and there was no nib. And I was just crestfallen. And I've seen this, increasingly in the past year or so, since the price of gold has skyrocketed. And I had this experience last summer where I saw a jeweler who had at the flea market, had a huge display of just a bunch of cases and several fountain pens, none of which had nibs, and I was just floored. And they weren't great pens, but they were they were decent. They were the kind of thing that would be they were good user pens, not necessarily super collectible. So I just kind of mentioned it to the guy there, and he said, "Yeah, I'm a gold whore," and I'm like, "Okay." At least you said it. I didn't. It was unbelievable, which is tragic. So they're melting a lot of these nibs down, and it's like, this is just terrible. So I went through the antique shop. It was actually an antique mall, pretty big place, and I was dejected. I was dragging my feet, going from stall to stall, and I was just like going through the motions, and not really finding anything. And, so I got there at like, I don't know, like 4:45. They closed at 5. I spent the next 40 minutes at least, looking around half-heartedly. Didn't, find anything. And then at 4:45, 15 minutes before they were supposed to close, or would be closing, I just turned around and then, unbelievably, at eye level, I couldn't believe it, I spied this. And I was like, no way. So that's great, right? Ripple Watermans. And nice condition. Very nice. And it was, reasonably priced for what it is. And I thought, this is just great. A Waterman's 52V. I don't believe it, right? And I looked at the tag and it said that. And I was like, that's cool. And then just for the heck of it, I just turned it over and I looked at it here. I was like, wait a minute. That doesn't say 52V. That says, oh, that looks terrible. That says 54V. And now that is a find. So I was like, holy cow, how did that happen? I would have been excited had it been a 52, but it's a 54. V, which is great. These are very, very hard to find. And it's, you know, it's not a surprise that the person who, you know, was selling this pen mistook it for a 52V. I'm going to play this right now because I feel like it. And here's why, right? Here's a 52V. Great pen. They're wonderful. But they're not the same. I'm going to zoom out here. So they look like they're the same in terms of length, right? More or less. But this is where they're different. Apart from the numbering, it's really all about, let me just put that down there. It's really all about the nib. See, the 54 has a bigger nib. It's a number 4 size nib. It's significantly larger. And the cool thing is this is a flexible nib. Surprise, surprise. You can even see, yeah, there you go. Now, I'm not going to dip it right now because this thing needs to get, there you go. Beautiful. Nice and smooth. It does have to get, you know, cleaned, and it has to get a new sack and that sort of stuff. But I can't believe it. It's a 54V. Woohoo! So I'm very excited about that. I'm going to be working on this and getting it cleaned up and stuff. I'm not going to dip it right now because I love that. The original patina. I'm not going to dip it right now because the feed is off, as you can see. And I kind of wanted to show you the nib as it is. How cool is that? Anyway, so they're out there. The right feed, by the way. It's the right feed. It's not black. It's a, you know, brown wood grain one. But anyway, so I'm just pumped. And I'm going to clean this up, and I'll make another video for you folks where I'm going to show you the thing in use. Look at these dry fingers. Good Lord. Anyway, but just wanted to make this little quick video for you guys and show you how fun and how cool, and that, yeah, these things are out there. If you're patient and persistent and determined, you just might luck out. Yeah, don't give up, I guess, is the message of the story here, right? The message of the video, right? Don't give up. Anyway, thanks so much. Have a great day. And I'll show you what this thing looks like when it's cleaned up. Take care.